Ah, well met, my friend. I see you've returned. Well, pull up a chair and grab a tankard, and let me tell you the tale of the water fairies of the British Isles. Mere, meaning a lake or pool, is an Old English word that forms the basis of mermaid, although this is now almost exclusively used in reference to the sea fairy. Nevertheless, the idea of the inland Mere-Maid is very ancient, the very oldest of these very likely being found in the Anglo-Saxon poem Beowulf, in the ghastly shape of the mother of the monster Grendel. Illustrations tend to suggest that these creatures are sexually alluring to some extent, but overall they are perilous to humankind. Most of our freshwater Mere-Maids share something with Grendel's mother. They are dangerous if not fatal to humans. A very good example is a creature dwelling in the Black Mere at Morridge in Staffordshire. No animals would drink the waters, and birds were said to avoid overflying the mere. This was probably because the mermaid used to seize passers-by at midnight and drown them. When an attempt was made to drain the mere, she emerged and threatened to engulf the whole of the nearby town of Leek in its waters. Wisely, the work was abandoned and never restarted. Other mere maidens include those of the ponds, pools and meres at Fordham in Cambridgeshire and at Rendlesham in Suffolk, and most notably at the mermaid pits at Farnham All Saints. All these beings came out at night to drag down their victims. Most are anonymous, but a few have been given names. For example, Jenny Greenteeth, who has been encountered at Ellesmere in Shropshire, as well as in Lancashire and Cumbria, Grindylow in Yorkshire, Nellie Longarms, and the widespread Rawhead and Bloody Bones. In Scotland, one encounters the Fidial, an evil spirit who haunts Loch na Fidial, near Gairloch in the Northwest Highlands. She is often regarded as a personification of the entangling bog grasses and waterweeds of the loch's shore. It is often said that the purpose of these creatures was to teach children to avoid ponds and similar drowning dangers, such as lawn-like mats of pondweed. The same risk existed around riverbanks, so that we hear of Peg Powler at Pierce Bridge on the River Tees, who might drag incautious children from the banks and into the depths of the river, and of a comparable perilous creatures in the River Gipping in Suffolk. All of these supernaturals preyed upon passing mortals. Despite this bad reputation, or possibly because of it, some were also connected to gold or treasure in some way. A beautiful maiden at Child's Urquell in Shropshire offered two men gold if they would enter the water to take it from her, but she disappeared when they commented upon their luck. Surely a variation on the common idea of keeping quiet about fairy favours. We must also wonder whether, if they had entered the water, the outcome might not have been as happy as they'd anticipated. At Marden in Herefordshire and Rosthern Mere in Cheshire, the Mere-Maids are said to be guarding bells submerged between the pool's waters. The last creature to discuss is perhaps the most intriguing, the Azurai or Ashray of Cheshire and Shropshire. There are no specific locations identified. This mermaid combines many of the features already mentioned. However, the fairy maid is portrayed as far more vulnerable than those seen before. If she is caught, she does not fight back like some of the other creatures mentioned. She instead pleads in an unknown language to be set free, and when she isn't, she curls up moaning in the fisherman's boat and has melted away by the time he reaches shore at daybreak. Where her hands have touched the fisherman, he is burnt and marked for life. Other versions of the folk beliefs say that Azurai have green hair and either a fishtail or webbed feet. They are reputed to live for many centuries, coming to the surface of the lake once each century to bathe in the moonlight, which helps them to grow. If the Azurai see a man, they will use promises of gold and jewels to attempt to lure him into the deepest part of the lake, there to drown or simply to trick him. She cannot tolerate human coarseness and vulgarity, and this will be enough to frighten her away. Curiously, the same has been said of other fairies. Lewis Spence recorded that a woman of Loch Aline in the Highlands escaped abduction by the fairies when she used a very coarse, unseemly word, as well she might in the circumstances. The she could not tolerate this and left her where they found her. Scottish poet Robert William Buchanan described the Azurai evocatively, if not wholly in line with oral tradition. In his poem The Azurai, Prologue to the Changeling, he says that all man grew of the four elements, the Azurai grew of three, fire, water, air. Not earth, they were not earthly. The Azurai wandered, choosing for their homes all gentle places. valleys mossy deep, star-haunted waters, yellow strips of sand kissing the sad edge of the shimmering sea, and porphyry caverns in the gaunt hillsides. In his sequel poem, The Changeling, Buchanan tells us that of the dew and the crystal air, and the moon-ray mild were the azuri made, because in the glorious gleam of the natal ray, the pallid azuri faded away. They were forced to retreat far away in the darkened places, deep in the mountains and under the meres. The most intriguing aspect of the azuri belief is a combination of predatory danger and vulnerability when caught. It is comparable to the Scottish selkies or seal women who could be trapped and forced into marriage with a human if their sealskins can be stolen from them. Perhaps in both we see the idea of the dangers of travelling between elements or dimensions. Humans who visit fairyland can suffer both physically and mentally, and these stories demonstrate that the reverse is just as true. The supernatural stranded in the physical world can lose his or her power and is prey to mortality. Well, my friend, it would appear my tale has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope you'll return again to sit with me and listen to more tales from the folklore of the British Isles. If you did like it, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, and maybe leave a comment down below. So until the next time we share a pint, farewell, and steer clear of those ponds.